All right. You nodded at me, so I assume
I wanted you to go.
Okay. Well, welcome back to the Ham and Spam Retro Review.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes. Welcome back, everybody.
There we go.
Okay. We Hammy and I have been talking about stuff and things. Our last episode, which was Super Mario 64, had a good time reviewing it. We got to talking about what our next game was going to be, and you had mentioned, hey, we haven't done Halo 2, and I had to kind of correct you and say, we've done Halo 2. You didn't do Halo 2.
Yeah.
So on the back burner, it's always been that we wanted to do another episode, call it a reprise, call it a correction, call it a blip if you are in the Marvel universe. We're going to finally review Halo 2 with Hammy here, not godforsaken Caitlin.
Who had never played the game.
Not Treet. Yeah, I mean,
apparently not very good at it.
Well, she did okay. We went through it, kind of tag teamed it for a little bit.
How far did you get?
We got to, I want to say got to just past the Banshee part.
Because I gotta admit, this game was a lot longer than I remember it being.
Well, we're going to get into some of that. But she helped us out of a bind. We recorded this episode way back when, in January of 2020, pre-COVID.
Oh wow!
So we recorded it. You weren't able to be here for whatever reason, sick. Something come up, whatever. We wanted to go ahead and get an episode out, maybe to the chagrin of Ham and Spam listeners that it wasn't a true review, but
it was something.
So I mean, it's one of those things you learn from. Like, okay, we'd rather put out a good episode late than a bad episode now.
Pretty sure Miyamoto said that or something similar.
Okay, well, I'm that's Spam 2021.
There you go.
So yeah, so we're gonna touch on Halo 2 again. So
how did y'all play it then? What format?
We played it on the Xbox One right here,
the Master Chief Collection.
Yes,
which is how you and I played it.
Right, and that's how you and I played it, for the simple fact that I don't think you can plug your original Xbox up and play it. So we would have had to couch co-op.
Yeah,
had we did it that way.
Y'all know if you can still get online with it or not.
I doubt. I think the servers.
Had one.
Yeah, I would have had to have had one. I think the servers are down. I'm quite certain the servers are down.
Now, I did play through it several times on the original Xbox.
See, and it's well documented. My first dealings with anything Halo was Halo 3, and I only got it because everybody was talking about it. I was like, well, I'll give it a shot.
What a weekend that was!
What a week! I remember Colton could not see. I had just moved into my house. And the previous owners, for whatever reason in Alabama, did not have air conditioning. So there's no air conditioning. We just had the overhead fan on. And we had, it was that TV, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it's this small TV because I didn't get that big one yet.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So we're all in there. We've ripped all the carpet up. We're getting ready to do stuff to the house. But by God, we've got internet, we've got power, and we're going to play some Halo. And it's me, you, and Colton and his brother Jacob. And we are just...
Well, Alex was over here too.
Alex ended up coming over too, but it's hot.
Because that was what finally got Alex and I to buy Xbox 360.
Right. It was hot and the dust was kind of everywhere. And Colton's eyes looked like he was stoned the entire time. Like, we didn't sleep. I think y'all might have spent the night that night. I can't remember.
I didn't, because it was a Saturday night.
Yeah.
I woke up, went to church Sunday morning, and came over after church, and Colton was in the exact same spot I remember leaving him in Saturday. But his eyes were wide open and bloodshot.
Well, it's like I don't know, just slumped over, took a nap, come back up, started playing, slumped over, took a nap.
Well, it's kind of how we did when Halo 4 came out too.
Yeah, it was that, and I remember Alex and I doing that with, I think it was Modern Warfare 2 when it first came out, because at that time I was all about the achievement, so we were going to go through the what do you call it, the I don't know, special ops
Okay.
missions, and try to get. You had the 1-star, the 2-star, and the 3-star. We were trying to get the 3-star in all of them.
Was that the one where you could get it on the airplane?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
No,
remember
that was one. That was one.
Okay. I remember you playing that for hours trying to get that.
Trying to get that one. Yeah. I haven't been able to get it on the remaster yet either.
Oh, wow.
On veteran anyway. I can get it on everything else. I haven't got it on veteran again. That's one of those, you get it the one time on the hardest difficulty and you never do it again.
Yeah. Well, needless to say, this playthrough of Halo 2, we both played on Master Chief Collection. Played through it completely in its entirety.
Right.
On normal difficulty.
Yep.
I love the function where you can swap back and forth between the old look and the new.
I thought that was kind of game changing when they did it with the first Halo anniversary, Combat Evolved anniversary, because I did that a lot, like just playing through it. Because again, I hadn't played a whole lot of Halo outside of Halo 3, and until that came to 360, I really hadn't played it. I do believe I ended up getting a backwards compatible version. Because whenever I did, because every time you're playing, it's like hit the white button to turn the light on.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a white button. Like I had to remember which one it was, and it turned to be like C up or something. I can't remember, but I'd played it a little bit there, but I really played it when the anniversary edition of that came out. So this right here, this was the prelude, if I'm not mistaken, to Halo 5 coming out, because there's that snippet of Halo 5 with Osiris, what's his name? Locke.
Yeah.
Spartan Locke's talking to
talking about when Chief with the bomb.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what, looking at the old graphics in this, they actually age pretty well to me.
They do. Some of them, obviously there's more detail. You got more to do, between the generations of systems.
But I would say the gap between Halo 1 and Halo 2 graphically was pretty significant.
Well, it was. Halo 1 was an early rendition. Again, I don't know, kind of like we talked about with Mario 64, where they said they only used 40% of the capacity because they didn't know what they had. I don't know what the original Halo was, but they fixed it by Halo 2 because those graphics are pretty insane.
Did you know the first time anyone ever saw Halo was at an Apple conference?
Yes, I did know that.
Yeah, Steve Jobs introduced it.
Right.
Because they originally planned, I think Apple was toying with the idea of having a console.
Yes.
And they introduced Halo. They showed it was completely different than what it turned out to be.
100% different.
But it's funny because when that didn't pan out, then Microsoft shows up. They're, hey, we're got an idea for a console. How would you like to put that game on here? And honestly, that's what put Xbox in the game.
Well, that's probably unofficially, that's Xbox's mascot, right?
Oh yeah, Chief, definitely. Because if you pop open a lot of consoles now, there'll be a little Master Chief head on them somewhere.
Are you serious?
Yeah, on like the.
I feel like you're making that up.
No, I'm serious. Like I know in the Series X, I think there was some kind of reference on the Xbox One X, but the Series X, I watched a guy on YouTube open it up, and it's somewhere inside on the. I can't remember if it was a frame or motherboard. There's a little Master Chief head.
That is neat. I'm not going to open up my Series X to find it, but that's neat.
I'll show you the video.
I was going to say I might look at the video and see, because that is pretty neat for them to throw that back. Because I've been watching a lot on Crash Bandicoot, like the originals that had come out for PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
On how they did it, and that's super interesting. Like you and I need to talk about it, and we might have to end up doing a Crash review soon as well. But how PlayStation doesn't have an official mascot.
They really don't. I mean, Crash
was for a little bit, but Crash is on every system now.
Maybe Spyro.
Well,
I guess now, I mean, they've got like Kratos. They've got some exclusive games, but they still say that they don't have a mascot. Is that her name? I don't know. Horizon Zero Dawn character. But then like Drake from Uncharted. But yeah, they don't have. you're right. They don't really have one.
Like a cartoony mascot that kind of can do all, sell all. This game comes out for this system, people are going to buy it because that's the mascot and everybody knows it and everybody loves it. I said for a long time it used to be Crash, but we're a little off topic here.
Well, I'm convinced that people buy PlayStation for third-party games.
I can see that.
But anyway, something else we noticed when you go back to the old graphics, it's the old audio.
The old music.
Because I wondered if Incubus and
Breaking Benjamin,
if their songs were still in there, and they sure enough are.
They are. Toward the end of the game, Breaking Benjamin's there without the vocals for whatever reason.
I can't remember if they were on there in the original.
Oh, well, see, I don't know.
I just remember the music, and I remember when I played that part originally, like it's where the brutes and elites are fighting. I'm like, I'm going to sit back and let this go.
Let them do it.
And then the music hits. It's like, no, I got to
do this. That's kind of where I was turned on to Breaking Benjamin a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, because it seemed like, and this is back in the days of LimeWire and viruses, that I had downloaded the Breaking Benjamin song.
I don't know anything about any of that.
I think I had downloaded a Breaking Benjamin song. It was that one.
Blow Me Away. It's a great song.
I gotta stop saying so much. I listened to our last podcast. It was very, very bad.
Very
So I'm trying to stop.
Well, anyway, the music, of course, sound in the whole game is incredible.
It's incredible. They did a good job with the remaster, the anniversary, but there's some where you're just like, this music still fits, but it's not as awesome as the first one. Right. But you can tell there's limitations with the first one as well.
Oh yeah, but Martin O'Donnell, just a legend.
That guy, I probably listen to just simply because I will preface it with this: simply because there's no Donkey Kong Country soundtrack on Spotify. I probably listen to either Halo or the Batman soundtracks most out of those two franchises on Spotify, just sitting at work.
And then, of course, his iconic Halo theme,
the Mjolnir theme.
Well, that no, it was just a Halo theme. This is the Mjolnir mix.
Oh, okay.
That includes Steve Vai with the rock guitar. And in 2008, I went to a concert. It was Video Games Live. Mm-hmm. It was Tommy Tallarico, who is huge in the world of video game music. He would go around, him and I can't remember the other guy's name, the composer. It's the guy that composed the music for Mass Effect games. But they would go from city to city and get the local orchestras and just do video game music.
Oh, that's neat.
Oh, it's incredible. But when they got to the Halo theme, like he played guitar and it had you got the orchestra live,
right?
And him just shredding the guitar. Oh my goodness!
It's got I've always liked it. It's got a S&M vibe from Metallica. You know, when they did that with the San Francisco Orchestra.
I think so.
It's kind of got that kind of feel.
And there's a ton of I'm doing it now.
Sorry.
Ton of covers on YouTube that have been around forever.
Right. And I was kind of getting to this. Now, if I could figure out a way for my phone, which is playing Spotify through the Bluetooth to my stereo, my vehicle, my truck, if I could find a way to videotape what's going on so I could have shown you what I was playing and the music still come through, you would have been probably pretty happy, because I was going to send you it. What day did it rain really hard here? Was it Wednesday? Maybe?
Sure.
Okay, well, it was Wednesday. We'll call it Wednesday. Wednesday, I was driving to work, and it wasn't really rainy yet. Well, I've come across a video game song, and it was the Song of Storms from Ocarina of Time.
Yes.
And then it started raining, and I was going to send you a video message that I should probably not have played this. Ha, 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 funny. But I wasn't able to.
Let's play it again. It'll stop.
Oh, well, actually, I did today. We were going to get May some golf clubs. I played it again, and it hasn't rained since. So,
oh, nice. Well done.
There you go. So, back to the game.
Just the sound. Again, Martin O'Donnell, a legend.
Yes.
It's a shame that, Bungie parted ways with him.
Well, Bungie parted ways. Well,
the Bungie today is not the same.
343 really parted ways too, because the Halo 4 and the Halo 5 are they have recalls to the original sound, but it's not the original sound. You can tell. It's
Yeah.
just it's their version.
If
of
I'm not
that
mistaken,
sound.
they have different composers for
They do.
each game.
They have a different one for 4 and a different one for 5.
I don't know why I just don't get Martin O'Donnell, because, you know, he left. He went with Bungie. He stayed with Bungie. He did the music for the first Destiny. And
Right.
for whatever reason, they let go of him.
You'd be surprised the amount of turnover between these studios, between games. You know, the different people they bring on for different ideas. People that just get sick and tired of it. That happened a lot on Halo too.
Well, I did watch.
Go listen to Finish the Fights podcast if y'all want like really, really in depth on some of that stuff.
I can't remember if I sent you this, but there was a guy that did a speed run of Halo 1, and they had a bunch of the old Bungie guys commenting, like watching it and commenting on it and talking about behind the scenes stuff, you know, how they made it, just the funny stuff that they did to make things work. And Martin O'Donnell was one of them, and it's great. You need to watch that.
Martin O'Donnell does a great job because they don't. This was not a game where they told him, "Hey, this is the game. Go make the music." It was, "Here's a game. Play it, then help us compose the music for it." So that's why it fits so well. And I think that this game does a really good job because a lot of the sounds are replicated, you know, through certain parts. But when you get to a really, you know, big part of the game, the sound changes and it lets you know, hey, here comes this big part coming up. I've always liked that.
How many times we played, the music would change. Oh crap, what's coming?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like,
why do I hear boss music?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like Resident Evil. Like you're sitting there playing and all of a sudden the boss music comes up and crap.
Also, when this game came out, there was a huge amount of hype behind it because of the success that Halo 1 was.
Right.
Like it made like national news. I remember seeing like people reporting on it. Like
Billboards,
all the boys,
and the marketing behind
all the gamers waiting in
huge.
line for it.
I wish I had, you know, done actual research and figured out exactly how much they spent on it, because whenever they, you know, come out with a game, you've got so much for marketing. And
they're so good at marketing. Halo
Game
3,
Game Fuel, Taco Bell. Every time you turned around,
remember the Believe campaign with Halo 3 with the diorama?
Yes,
and they'd have the
that thing is on YouTube and it's still good to watch.
It's in the fictional like, interviews with the soldiers out there. Man, they went all out, and that's when Xbox was clicking on all 8 cylinders right there, man.
All 12.
All 12.
It's a Ferrari.
Yeah.
But I remember all of that. Again, at the time I was full PlayStation 2. I didn't have Xbox. It was still the new kid on the block. You know, they had their moments when it was really good. Obviously, Halo's probably their best known title for the Xbox, I would venture to say.
From Bungie?
On
Xbox. Period? Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, that was... I remember when Gears of War came out, people were like, this is what you can play while you're waiting for Halo 3, which Gears of War turned out to be a great franchise.
Oh, it did.
As well.
It did.
It surprised people, but yeah, everyone was really waiting for Halo 3 to come out.
That was the big thing. And, you know, and we'll get into it a little bit later, but this game, Halo 2, was supposed to be Halo 2 and Halo 3 combined. You know, it had so much more story to go, and they were in such a crunch for the amount of time that they had. They just split it up into 2 games. So it wasn't supposed to be a Halo 3. It's supposed to be Halo 2, and that was it.
Really?
Yeah. And that's why, and again, we'll get into it, why you have such a fantastic and iconic game that also has the worst ending in video game history.
Abrupt.
Like
mid-sent.
Sir, I'm here to finish the...
Finish the what?
Finish the what? Did he crash? What happened? But, so let's go kind of into our playthrough. Obviously, we played it over 2 nights. Pretty good, solid, 5 hours into the first night? 4 hours into the first night.
Yeah.
And maybe 3 in the next. So we got through it.
Yeah, like I said, it was a lot longer than I remember it being.
Well, the first level...
Cairo Station. I need a weapon.
That when Caitlin and I played through it, that level took forever. Hold on, Cairo Station's not the first level.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you start out because he's getting the medal for the events from Halo 1.
Oh, Cairo Station. I'm thinking of something. I'm thinking of the next level. But yeah, you're right.
Thinking of New Mombasa.
I am. we played through it pretty cut and dry. Nothing spectacular.
Get you into it. It does. If you play through Halo 1, you'll notice that you don't have the assault rifle.
Right, and
It's
then
not in the
this is
game.
where they introduced the new armor, where you don't have to find the health packs, so
Mhm.
it regenerates itself.
That's a cool way they did that.
It is, because they put that into the game. Like, okay, oh gosh, I'm about to go on a pig trail here, a big one. So this is one thing that I really, really liked about from Halo 1 to Halo 2 to Halo 3. Everything got better. The armor upgrades, the equipment upgrades, the weapons upgrades, it all fit.
Yeah.
So you go from health packs in 1 to regen in 2, right?
Yeah, just straight up shields.
You
You had a flashlight battery in 1 too.
Right. Your flashlight battery went out. It was there for as long as you wanted it in 2. And I don't know if those are maybe just, hey, we want to have this to make it seem realistic, because flashlight batteries go out, or if it was like a system limitation thing, like we can only do it for so long because we can't brighten these areas for this long.
I doubt it. I mean, I think that was probably just a choice, and when they decided to upgrade the armor, it's probably like, hey, let's
just get rid of it.
Yeah,
right.
Let's make it feel like an upgrade, and it did.
So I can't remember 100% if Reach, did you have to find health packs in Reach? I think you did.
Yeah, you did.
So this was the issue
they
that
kept a little consistency there.
Right. So you had health packs in Reach, you had health packs in 1, and all of a sudden you got better armor. And I get that, and that's great.
Well, which in all fairness, those were Spartan 3s in Reach. So they would have newer armor. Right. They wouldn't be as good as a Spartan 2.
Right.
But the Spartan 2s are also very finite.
Very. But the thing that, because I don't know why I was thinking about this, because we haven't even talked about Halo Reach. The thing that always gets me when you go to a prequel type of game, a lot of times you got newer and better weapons. That bugs me. I don't know why. So like you've got the armor lock, and you've got the invisibility, and you've got the clone guy that you can run out in Reach. You don't have any of that in Halo 1. Like, I understand they're trying to make the game a little more fun. It can't go back to actual all Halo 1.
Yeah.
But still, that just bothers me, because Metal Gear Solid 3 was the same way. You had all this really, really great tech that wasn't in the original Metal Gear, and this one happened years before the first.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That's they do that a lot in video games too.
And I understand why, because as they go chronologically in real time order, the technology gets better, the ideas get better. Hey, let's what if we added this? What if we added this? And it's like, nobody ever asked the question, should we? It's not.
Dr. Ian Malcolm asked it.
Thank you, God. That's why I love you. Because whenever I said it, I knew what I had said, and I was hoping you picked up on it. So, but we played through the first level, kind of cut and dry. Graphics switching back and forth, they're really amazing. Loved it. Get to the second level. So,
well, the first level also ends with one of the most iconic cutscenes.
Oh, does it ever? I asked you the question, and I'm going to say it here on the podcast. Maybe somebody can give me some kind of insight on it. Why do they make their bombs with spikes on them like that?
Because they're huge Legion of Doom fans.
What a rush! Is it supposed to look like a needler? I mean, is that what it is?
I guess to make it look more alien.
I don't know. Listening to the Finish the Fight guys, they said that there was 7 seconds on the bomb.
And sir, we distinctly counted 11.
We did count 11. I will give you that much. Now, I don't know if that's like, maybe it was a Microsoft countdown. It had to start up before it restart.
Would you like to update? No.
But the flying through space.
Could have been discrepancy between the original and the upgraded too, because we watched it all upgraded.
Right.
And we did notice that they were different.
I don't know if it's necessarily different as far as an extra scene here or there, but it's a good 2 seconds off.
I wonder if that's so they can have the original music in it.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure either, because you can flip from, maybe it's so you can say, okay, you're watching the new, and all of a sudden you go to the back, and what you've just seen new, you're seeing again. But if you go from old to new, you've skipped whatever is in between.
Right.
So it's just a delay. It's a little because it doesn't happen in real time gameplay, but it just happens in the cutscenes and the videos and stuff.
And there's something else about Halo 2. Like I said, the AR is not in it. They removed it, replaced it with the SMG because they felt that the AR acted more like an SMG in 1. And plus, they wanted you to dual wield.
Right. They're really selling
the
that
battle
dual wield.
rifle, which battle rifle is my all-time favorite Halo weapon.
I love the battle rifle. I missed it in Halo 1, going from 3 back to 1.
Well, you and I, like Halo 2 is my first Halo game. Halo 3 was yours. So I really wish that we could have had the perspective from someone who played them in order.
Right.
What their thought was, like, hey, the AR
as it progressed.
Here. Yeah, because the Magnum is in there. It's not nearly as good as it was in 1.
No, it's not. But what was your favorite gun in 2?
In 2?
Yeah.
Battle rifle.
Okay. See, I really like picking up the dual SMGs, but I tell you one thing I really, really liked. And for whatever reason we haven't had it since, is the dual wielded needler. Like I understand the needler. I understand the needler wasn't quite as powerful in 2. Like it took more needles to make them explode. But well, those brutes, they just mowed through those brutes. Before, even and it got enough needles in them, and they would explode before they went berserk. And
which I don't remember being as devastating as it was.
Oh, I do. I hated the brutes in 2. Hated it. And that's what I don't understand. They weren't that hard in 3. Again, I'm going from 3 back to 2.
Yeah.
The brutes in 2 are all, if you don't have, we were talking about using the laser rifle, the laser beam rifle. And you said I shot that guy in the head 5 times.
Beam rifle.
Beam rifle, my bad. You said that you had shot, I shot that guy dead in the head 5 times and he still didn't die before he went berserk.
Yeah.
Is it berserk?
It's berserk. Okay. Yeah, that was a captain that had the brute shot.
Right.
So I really like the captains in 3 though, the hammer. But that's 3. That's 3. Stay on target.
Right. 3 we'll have to do 3. We got to do 3.
But Cairo Station, great level. It's really cool seeing the MAC guns out in space.
Yes, that's one thing I thought they did really well in the remaster was some of those details that you kind of heard about in 2. Like you hear over the speaker, hey man, they're leaving, we won, whatever, and all of a sudden the MAC station blows up. They did a really good job for those far out graphics in the new one to really sell the devastation that was, because it was just a pew explosion.
Which, by the way, when Trump announced Space Force, this is what I imagined. I was like, we're going to get some MAC guns out in space. If we ever
we're
get
gonna have
invaded,
ships that look
ready.
like guns.
Yeah.
And it's funny how whenever you look at any kind of sci-fi game that takes place in the future, that's what all the ships look like.
Oh yeah,
they all look like a Glock riding through space. I've not understood that. But after you finish the first level, you hop on
a Pelican.
Is it a Pelican?
Yeah.
I know you're in a Pelican.
Well, you land on the ship.
Yeah, you land on the ship, and then everybody gets in a Pelican. You go down. Right.
The daughter of Captain Keyes.
Right.
Or is it Commander Keyes? Anyway.
No, it's Lord Hood.
Yeah, there's Lord Hood, and there's I think it's Commander Keyes.
I think it's Commander Keyes.
But anyway, you get down to Earth, the new Mombasa.
And then my favorite character in this whole freaking game, Johnson. I love Johnson in this game.
Which, by the way, if you're coming again straight from Halo 1, you're like, wait a minute. Chief and Cortana are the only 2 to make it off. How is Johnson there?
Well, I remember the legendary ending to 1 where he's like, come here and give me a hug, man, because we're about to go out.
Yeah, he hugged the
elite.
Well, it's explained, I think, in some other medium that Chief found, I think Johnson and some other people in some kind of like life raft in space.
Look,
or something.
Comic book characters come back all the time. I mean, we can have Johnson until we killed him off in 3 for sure this time.
Spoilers.
For a game that's almost 20 years old?
13. Anyway.
Is it only 13?
13 or 14. 2007, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 7. 777 was Bungie Day.
So it may have been 16. I don't know. Anyway,
we're on Halo 3 again.
New Mombasa, by the way, is my favorite level in the whole game.
Really?
Absolutely love it.
Okay. See, this is the one that gave Caitlin and I the most fits because you're in that courtyard area and you're just shooting people. shooting people. And all of a sudden there's nobody to shoot. And I don't know if maybe the game just didn't trigger or we weren't in the right area or what, but when you finally are able to get out of the courtyard and move on, the 2 hunters come out of the door. When Kayla and I played a year ago, it took forever. We ran all the way around. We were going everywhere we could. We couldn't get things to come out.
And, this is one of my gripes with the game, but this has been persistent in a lot of Halo games, is sometimes those triggers seem to take forever.
Right.
But when I was watching that speedrunning video, apparently people figured out how to get around some triggers. Like there's one part in Halo 1 when you first get to the Halo and you have to wait on the ship to come, drop off a Warthog. If all the Marines are dead, it like skips that part. So that speedrunners will kill all the Marines so they can skip that part.
Wow. Okay.
So
there are certain triggers that make that happen. Well, I know, like when you do the skull run in New Mombasa, you have to take off through the tops of the building. So you just jump over all that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
With the grenade jumps and have you seen that skull? That skull is awful to try to get to.
Which one?
The one in New Mombasa.
Is it at the end of that long bridge? Now I've gotten the only skull I've ever gotten in Halo 2 was that one. You had to hijack a Banshee or get a Banshee.
No,
there's some way you get up on
not
top
the one
of
I'm
the
talking
tunnel.
about, but yeah, I know
I have gotten that one.
No, this one is you kind of start the level out and you have to.
Can you hijack a Banshee? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to do that. You need to get up on top of a building to get this one.
Well, this one was you had to like jump over where all that takes off, and you had to. This one was Johnson was up in the Pelican, and he rescues Marines, and he takes off, and I'll have to show it to you. But you had to get to certain. You had to get to certain points before the game basically caught up with you.
Yeah, they were real hard to get in Halo 2.
Very hard.
Like I said, I only had one, and I got every one of them in 3. No problem.
Right. Outside of that, I would have been your daddy when you got to jump through. Was it 4, 6, 3, 1,
it's
2?
Funny.
I don't know that combination.
There was in back to Martin O'Donnell, he actually put like audio clues on how to do that correctly, but someone like data mined the game and cheated their way
and found out the numbers.
Yeah, because that's how you got the Hayabusa armor.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably my favorite armor. We've got to stop talking about Halo 3. And there it is again. So we get through the area. You and I've had our first A-team moment when we finally got on the Warthog. So one of the things that Hammy and I have always done ever since we started playing Halo together is we will find a Warthog and then Hammy will yell out A-team. So he'll either take the gunner or the seat, and I'll take the other one.
Yeah, that was our Halo 3 multiplayer call sign for, hey, get on a Warthog.
Exactly. A-team. Hey, Clint, A-team. So we would take off, and one of us, if not both of us, are humming the A-team theme into our mics.
Oh, we both were at the same time.
Yeah, this time
we were surprisingly very effective with it.
Absolutely.
I remember
every time we are.
On Halo 4, I got in the back of a Gauss Warthog. And some rando was driving, and I think I got like 30-something kills. He messaged me after the games like, you were a great gunner.
That's the one where you go through the building and everything, you jump on the Scarab, and after you get past the Scarab.
Well, before that.
Okay.
When you're going through the tunnel, but you get the Scorpion tank,
mm-hmm.
You get to the tunnel, you start going through the tunnel. I meant to look up the name of those vehicles that the Covenant had. There are 2 vehicles I remember in this that I don't remember seeing in any other Halo game.
So one of them is that carrier thing.
Yeah, it has the ghost. It's carrying a coast. Right. I can't remember the name of it. I've looked it up before. The other one was almost like a elite version of the Prowler from Halo 3.
Right.
But I love that part going through those tunnels.
Yeah, I've always liked it. I don't like where it kind of is trying to force you to get out of the vehicle and take it
just to get another vehicle
right
later.
Well, either just get another vehicle or have to try to go through the rest of the level, that last quarter of the level on foot. Sometimes you make a game too big and it's a bad thing.
And this game is very guilty of that.
Well, and you and I had talked about it too, about the loading screens. Like it's making this so long or take so long because it's loading everything coming
Yeah,
up.
another part. That's why you go through some corridors that
Right.
twist and turn and slow you down.
And you're like, because I asked the question, why would you not just put a door all the way through? Why are you going all the way around this building, especially in the High Charity?
Yeah,
You're running down, and all of a sudden you get to this wall, and you have to run around the
it's
wall.
giving your assets time to load.
Sure, it has nothing to do with the fact that we need a buffer for loading time.
But that's what it is. It's
Well, I
giving them time.
understand.
But yeah, that whole tunnel part, and you come out on the other side, and that's where you first get the Gauss Warthog, which is my favorite version of the Warthog.
I've always liked the Gauss Warthog. I like the rocket launcher Warthog a little bit too, but it's not quite the same.
I killed myself a lot on the rocket launcher Warthog.
Well, because you're either trying to wait for it to launch or reload or
there's
lock
a ghost
on.
right on you.
Right. At least with the Gauss, it's pull trigger, boom.
But yeah, and then you get to the end of that part, and that's where you're waiting and you're watching the Scarab, because this whole mission, it starts off with the Scarab shooting your Pelican down. So the whole mission is you're trying to catch up to this Scarab to take it out.
And this is the first time we've seen the Scarab in the series.
And my gosh, that whole little part when you finally stop and you can finally get to the Scarab was what cemented Halo as one of my favorite series of all time. You feel like such a
BA.
A BA.
There you go.
When you're running across the bridges up top, you jump down into the Scarab.
Right. And you're having to fight all these elites and all these jackals and all the grunts.
And I think that's the first time you run into an Ultra, isn't it?
It is.
And hey, you find out you can use the sword you couldn't in Halo 1.
Right.
I can use this now? Finally?
Yeah. So I thought that was a really good thing that they did, is some of the things that needed to go went, a la the health kits, the light running out, and some of the things that were complained about, like there's certain vehicles you couldn't drive in Halo 1. I don't think there was any limitations in this one. I think you could drive all of them, maybe except for that thing that we were talking about in the tunnel.
Yeah, I don't remember being able to drive it. I never tried, though.
I didn't try, exactly. And then the sword. That was one thing I remember that. And I didn't play Halo. I remember that being the one thing a lot of people talked about. It's like, I just wish I could pick up that sword.
Yeah, well, I remember when I went back to Halo 1, because again, I played this one first,
right.
And I killed my first elite with a sword. It's like, what happened to the sword? I was going to use that.
Well,
I dual wield?
And see, I don't understand why people, they need to get rid of some of these engineers and hire some real people that says, hey, if you're going to kill me with it, I'm going to kill you with it, big boy. I think that would just be a very good thing to do, is have somebody that's more logical in the video games. Now, if there's a limitation with the hardware or the software, or
there's also a balancing act too. I mean, you can get some weapons that are overpowered because they're trying to balance stuff in multiplayer. That's Bungie's problem now with Destiny. They don't go a month without trying to fine tune and change the game.
Oh, really?
Because you find so many options that are overpowered, unfair in multiplayer. It's just ridiculous.
Well, I remember
they
them doing
nerf
that.
Stuff so much.
I remember them doing that a little bit with Halo, but for the most part too, they would limit the number of like power weapons on a map, and then either they would limit the damage. They got to the point where they either limited the damage or they prolonged the respawn time on some of that. Instead of keep tweaking with everything, you just okay.
And see, they did it pretty well, but with Destiny, when you can take in your own weapons, you can take in the most powerful exotics in the game, and they try to balance it. It's just, and you have powers on top of all that. It's a mess.
Yeah,
I hate the multiplayer on Destiny, but
going back to something that we really did like though, after you get through New Mombasa and the tunnels, and then you get the Scorpion. I love that part, by the way. I love it when Johnson shows up and the Marine's like freaking out, and he's like, "Are you hurt?" "Oh, well, no, sir." He said, "Well, get your A double back in line, son." So, and then he drops the tank, and Cortana through Chief is saying, "Well, thanks. You know, he never gets me anything." He goes, "I know what the ladies like."
It's tanks.
It's just, it gives Johnson so much character.
He is a great character.
And this was my favorite Johnson game, I think. The other one is kind of, it's The one thing that comes back to mind for me with Johnson is Halo 3. Whenever you're trying to get those 3 spires, and you say, "Okay, that's the first one, Chief," and the elite should be, "That's 2. Now we're just waiting on Johnson," and Johnson's like, "Help me! I failed. They got me, Chief." But in this one, man, he was BA. So, but after that level, if I'm mistaken, if I'm misspeaking, let me know. But after that level, you see everybody bring the elite in that is going to be known as the Arbiter.
Well, remember at the end of Nubasa is when the space elevator falls, which
Right.
is basically the beginning of ODST.
Right. It's right at the beginning couple of levels of ODST.
Yeah.
Right.
So the Covenant retreat into slip space, the ship with
inside of orbit, inside of Earth's atmosphere.
That's what destroys the space elevator.
Right.
And was a ship in amber clad?
Yes.
They follow them in. It's got all your major players, but yeah, the next one, like you said, that's when they introduce.
Well, that's when they find
Arbiter.
the Halo ring. Also, they didn't come out of slip space right there. It was after. It was after. Okay.
This, yeah. Because this was kind of a curve for a lot of people.
It was, and you and I kind of spoke about this, but the more I've thought about it, I think I want to kind of change my thoughts on that, and we haven't done on the podcast, so we'll go with that. But anyway, they bring this elite in that has failed in catching Master Chief.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was in charge of the Covenant.
Basically.
In Halo 1.
Basically.
And they're saying held him accountable for the destruction of it.
Right. And they're making him a heretic, basically. They're going to, hey, we're not gonna kill you. We're just gonna deform you and make you feel really bad, and we're gonna make you the Arbiter. As everybody before you has been, Arbiter is this person we get to go on suicide missions to do our bidding. And this character, and does he have a name? Like, I'm sure it's some kind of weird alien name that we can't pronounce, but
Beauregard.
Belvedere, Belvedere.
A Beauregard.
I know. Bocephus.
There you go.
But they make him the elite, or make him the elite. They make him the Arbiter to do their bidding. We jump back into. Do we go on the mission?
Yeah, you go straight into his mission.
Okay.
Because it's so neat. And again, I wish I had this from perspective of someone who played Halo 1 first. Because now you're with the Covenant.
Right.
You're an elite.
And how many times do we almost kill our own elites?
It's
because you're so used to killing elites that no matter if it's a green receptacle or a red receptacle, you're just ready to kill it.
It's like God sort them out.
Right. And me, whenever I finally go, I guess.
And I was so excited when I got the invisibility, only to find out it runs out after about 10 seconds.
After 10 seconds, yeah. Because they even say that in the game, though. I thought that was pretty good. They give you a reason why, hey, we can go invisible. We can stay all day long.
You got the old armor.
You got the old armor.
So that's a cool juxtaposition if you think about it.
It is.
Chief gets the brand new, more advanced armor.
Mm-hmm.
Arbiter gets knocked back down to this old, ancient, not as good armor.
Right. And it just kind of shows you on two different perspectives. And I think that's what they were going for in this game was you got a perspective of here's the hero and here's the failure.
Think about that too, because Chief starts out getting a medal. He's the great hero, and
Arbiter's getting demoted and getting his armor ripped off of and getting branded and almost getting eaten by the brutes. And
so you see these two characters eventually come together over the course of the game, coming from two completely different worlds.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, this level is kind of in sand, I guess. Is sand kind of where I always thought it was more like a sand world.
I thought it was like a gas giant type.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
I don't know, because they had that storm that's come, which I guess a gas giant can have a storm, but they had this storm that's coming that, whenever you cut the things, you see everything outside. It's all swirling around. You're in a storm there, are you not?
Maybe.
I can't remember.
Either way, it's a sandy, gassy planet.
So you're there to stop, this elite that's basically learned really the truth.
Yeah, that's what's interesting.
From 343.
Yeah, he's learned the truth. So despite all this, Arbiter is still loyal to
the Covenant.
What's it called? The Great Journey?
Yes. Now he's starting to question a little bit. Like, he's kind of, are you sure? Like, you can kind of see in just some of his mannerisms in the cutscene, like, we think the world of you, Mr. Elite guy that, that's turned rogue on us. Where have you learned all this stuff from? And all of a sudden here comes 343 from the first Halo. It's like, yeah, hey, yeah, we're going to kill you. This thing's meant to kill you. So he's kind of starting to learn some stuff. And then on top of that, you've got this fantastic story of this. It's a double hill turn done to the best that a double hill turn can be done to with the brutes. So you've got these different races that are kind of vying for position within the Covenant ranks, and the elites are the top of the top. Well, I kind of consider the hunters to be one step above just because they're better. But
it's in terms of hierarchy, they're still below the prophets.
Yes,
but they're like they're the elites. They're the top military class.
And you've got the brutes that are kind of like these. What would you call the brute? Like an apish kind of. They kind of look like apes, right?
Yeah, they do. They're very primate like.
Well, you've got these guys that weren't in Halo 1, but they kind of explain themselves that basically they've got all different kinds of races. So that's kind of a good thing because they can pull any new race into this story, even though they never freaking do.
And
they pull any race in.
Yeah, the hunters is not one single
right. Creature. It's just a group of worms that's working together.
Which we've seen in Halo 3, they run the scarabs now too.
What?
Yeah, in Halo 3, remember in this Halo, you have to go in to the control room and destroy it. In Halo 3, you blew up that thing on the back. If you look at it, you can see the worms inside of it.
You just put a wrinkle in my brain.
There you go.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. Yeah. I never put
Forget what they're called.
I never put 2 and 2 together. Wow. That's amazing. I'm going to play Halo 3 now after this podcast immediately. Well, no, I got to finish Twilight Princess. But anyway, so, and I know we didn't necessarily want to go into the story a whole lot, but we kind of have in a way. The one thing about this level that I always thought was kind of cool, but kind of like weird at the same time. You have to go through and this platform is on wires. What it's attached to, I don't know. Probably Spider-Man. I don't know. You know how Spider-Man can swing?
Well, it looked like it was like gears in a way too.
I guess. I don't know. Well, I'm talking about like if you look from a back out from the platform, there's wires running up. I don't know what it's connected to.
I think it's like I think it's some kind of mining facility.
Okay.
This whole planet, but yeah, this introduces my biggest gripe with this game.
Okay.
And that's these slow moving platforms you have to stay on.
Yep.
Whilst flood drops from the sky.
Yep.
You keep fighting them. And it takes forever.
Backtracking just a little bit. This is the first time you get to pilot a Banshee. You don't get to in Halo 1, do you? Well, you can steal it, I think.
I think you. I can't remember.
We probably should have done Halo 1 first so we can make sure. I remember in Halo 1 there was a way for you to get some of them. So I think you couldn't steal it though. I don't think you could steal it, but
I think you hijack stuff.
Right.
But.
Well, anyway, this is the first time you get into it in this version. And you fly around, you get the guy and you're cutting the cables.
That whole scene with the Banshees. This is the first time I never died on that part.
Really?
Yeah, I have every other time.
I didn't really care for that because there was a lot of, hey, let's fly over here. Oh no, let's fly over here. Oh no, let's fly over here.
And something else too. When you play this game on single player, if you die, you just start over at the checkpoint.
Right.
But if you're playing 2-player and you die, but your co-op partner is still alive, you might get spawned on a platform with no Banshee. You're just stuck there till you move forward. And that was just, I always hated that. Like, it was not well thought out, in my opinion.
Well, and I tend to agree with you on that, but a lot of times it wouldn't let you respawn if your partner was in a Banshee. Yeah. Like, it would just say waiting.
Like, you'd have to slow down over a surface and they could respawn.
Slow down or get on a surface and hop out and they would respawn there and you get in a Banshee. And well, guess what? They don't have a Banshee.
Yeah. So that did happen a lot to me when I'd play co-op.
I've always liked the whole thing with the co-op of being able to respawn where your second player is or your other player is.
They're not in combat.
Because that,
or if it's safe.
That right. Area not safe. That is always a good thing for me because I'm usually the guy that's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go let them fight for a little while because this is probably a little over my head. I'm gonna be the respawn guy, and that's kind of was my role.
That's
and
how
that
we
was
did. Yeah,
right, and that was a role that Maze had too. Like when he was little and he wanted to play, he was like, "Okay, we'll let you play. Don't go into battle. You stay right here until we need you." Okay, he goes, "Okay, Daddy."
We
So
played
he
on
just
that
stay there,
legendary.
right? Because he just stay there until we needed him to move. Okay, Maze, you come up with us now. So, anyway, the back and forth with the story, you end up that learning that the floods here as well.
That they weren't killed at the end of Halo 1 like you thought.
Right. I still think that 343 tells of a Halo ring where they had the flood contained on. And that was the only flood within the universe at the time until Halo 1 they had gotten out or something. I can't remember. But
Possibly.
I love you. I can't tell you how much I love you.
Now the grave mine was around.
Right. Well, the grave mine's not the grave mine, it's a grave mine. Like they basically, and I've looked up some of the lore on this. There's multiple grave mines that kind of control all of this, and basically they have to come together to form a grave, almost like the worms in a way come together to form the hunter. It's whatever the flood is.
Yeah, if you start getting to the origins of the flood.
Oh my gosh.
Nuts.
I tell you what else is nuts. The grunts backstory, how tragic it is. Basically they're rabbits.
Yeah.
They just keep breeding and there was just too many of them. They ate themselves out of food and it's tragic, man. It's like, holy crap. I kind of feel sorry for them.
Until you shoot them in the head. It's
and
hilarious.
They explode and everybody's yelling and there's confetti and
Yay.
That's my favorite way to play Halo. My two skulls that I always have to turn on is the I Would Have Been Your Daddy skull, which is the extra dialogue skull, and the grunt birthday party.
I agree.
Those are the two that I always have to have on. The rest of them, some of them are fun, some of them make the game harder, but those are the two I have to have on. I don't know why.
Because they're great.
Because they're fan-freaking-tastic.
And it's so satisfying to hear that pop.
Yay! Yay! But continue on with the story. We end up kind of in these ancient ruins.
We get to the Halo.
Okay.
We find the next Halo because that's where the Covenant ship comes out of slip space.
Because we don't know where we're at.
Right. And so then Chief, another great scene that you skipped on this playthrough, but I have seen it in Anniversary. So, but it's where Chief lands with the ODSTs and their pods. And immediately gets to work in these ancient ruins.
Right, because when he pops out, she's like, "Do you think you can make enough noise?" And he pulls out the rocket launcher. She goes, "Oh, well, I guess so." But you go through these ancient ruins and you get to probably the first part of the game where you really have to wait on things or ride things.
What's that called? That there was one in Super Mario 64. You referred to it, a ski lift.
Yes.
Like, remember the ski lift on the Coco Mountain?
Right.
It's kind of like one of those.
Yeah. What do they call it? Gondola? Gondola. That's it. So I hated that part. I can't get over how much I hated that part.
And a lot of this,
I get it because you're riding from this platform to that platform, but it's an oversized ski lift.
Well, it goes back to what you said. It's almost like they made some of the levels too big.
Right.
Because I don't remember this really being an issue with Halo 3. Like, they felt fine in Halo 3.
Well, you got a more powerful system. It's probably loading faster.
Well, I don't know. Halo 2 just had these super big areas that felt a little too big.
Well, the other thing that in this level kind of made me...
Personal opinion.
That kind of got me upset. Not upset. It just kind of made me question a little bit about why they did it. And I get, developing issues and loading issues and all that.
Well, we're calling a lot of this issues and stuff with that, but it could also be just choice.
I guess. But when you got into the underwater glass elevator, it swims. It swims all over the place.
Now, that was definitely a loading.
Like it goes down the tube, and all of a sudden you're underwater, and it's floating everywhere.
And
like
I halfway expected to see the world from BioShock.
That would have been great. But this was an area where there's a major difference when you're in that glass elevator. There's a major difference between the old school view and the new school view.
Yeah, you can't see anything.
You can't see anything. Just a couple of shadows, but when you go to the new school view, they've got these ancient ruins that are in the bottom.
Yeah, well, that's a
and
technological difference there.
Right. I'm just saying how much different it is whenever they did the upgrade is all. But why that thing just couldn't go down, go to the next platform and come up, I don't know. It's
Space
kind of
magic.
And I'm so glad you said that, because you said that numerous times during our playthrough. So the gondola, gosh,
I love when you finally get to the end of the level and you get to the prophet.
And you get to beat him up.
Yeah, you just punch him to death.
I think there's a skull that says punch the prophet and make candy fall out. I think there's one where you can get to the end of that, and whenever you're punching him, every time you punch him, I think it's a pinata skull. I might be wrong on that, but
we've got to do that.
We shall. But yeah, you get on the prophet and you're riding him, and it's like punch the prophet. So you punch the prophet, candy falls out. Punch the prophet, candy falls out. You didn't know about that? That's okay. Then we'll have to do that. So right after that level, you punch the prophet, and there's a coup going on within the prophets, I guess.
Well, yeah, you got the three prophets: truth, mercy, and regret. Mm-hmm. This is regret. Who came to Earth.
Regret coming to Earth. We gonna regret messing with an army.
Because they're looking for the Ark.
Right.
And got to Earth and jumped the gun. They didn't know.
That it was occupied.
And see, that's the whole thing with Halo 1 is the reason that Pillar of Autumn found Halo is because when they encountered the Covenant, they did this thing called the Cole Protocol, mm-hmm. which is they would punch in random coordinates, allegedly random coordinates,
right,
to flee out in space, so the Covenant would never follow them back to their planets, because the mm-hmm. Covenant would just glass a planet to extinction. Mm-hmm. And so they found the Covenant or the first Halo by coincidence.
He's using quotation marks there
because it's not really coincidence. Because it's I think they imply, or they might flat out say that.
Yeah, they
knew something was there, and they had Cortana. They programmed it within Cortana.
I was going to say, I think they programmed it within Cortana because they found some Forerunner stuff in Reach.
Yeah.
Of course, you don't know this yet, but
and Halsey put that in Cortana to try to find what's out there.
But exactly, and they even say that we made a blind jump. How did they get here first?
Right. And so this was the worst nightmare for the humans, because now the Covenant have found Earth.
Right.
So now it's like DEFCON 1, red alert. Holy crap, it's over. Doomsday. Right.
So,
but Regret jumped the gun and had to flee.
Mm-hmm.
And so now Truth and Mercy are kind of shunning him.
Right. And they're going to kind of make not a martyr, but they're going to make an example out of him. They're like, they said something, the council wants your entrails run through the city or something like that, didn't they? And so we're not going to do that.
We're going to kill you quickly.
Right. So
the other thing is really Truth is making a power play to become the top dog.
Exactly. So after you kill Truth, you come back out. Regret, excuse me. After you kill Regret, you come back out and you look up in the sky and there's tons of ships coming, and it's like, holy crap. And then all of a sudden they're going to glass the planet. Chief jumps in, this tentacle comes up. You and I both kind of know what's going on. It's Gravemind to pull him down.
The Kraken.
Yeah, you said that during the playthrough. You go back and forth a couple of times between Arbiter and his stupid platforming crap. That junk, because you've got two different levels of the Arbiter doing that.
Yeah.
So one's just the platform is it spinning up or spinning down? Who cares? It's just sitting there spinning. And you finally have to you're going to the index, right? You're trying to go get the index for that Halo. But you just riding this stupid platform. And that par time, has anybody ever beaten that? I'm sure there has. How are you supposed to beat that par time when it takes you that long?
There's probably some crazy exploit. Skip the whole thing.
Probably so. And I wish we could find it. Is the first level, whenever they're going down and around, is that where you encounter those they look like the little scooper things out of
all the enforcers?
Yes. You know what they remind me of? They remind me of the little scooper things out of episode 3.
Yeah.
On the lava planet. It's what they remind me of. I just thought of that.
I never knew that they could pick up your vehicle.
Hammy found that
scared
out.
the crap out of me.
Hammy found that out the hard way.
Yeah, I'm in a scorpion tank, and I'm sitting there just shooting stuff, and it picks up my scorpion tank and kills me. Never knew they could do that.
That's funny.
See, those are part of the Sentinels.
Yes, and this kind of brings me to another point that we had, because there's several times in this game where you really you don't necessarily have to put a waypoint up, immediately go from here to here. But a waypoint would have been nice sometimes.
Yeah, and that harkens back to what you said again. I mean, some of these,
because after a while there would be a waypoint.
Yeah,
after a while there'd be a waypoint.
A good long while.
Well, but there would be one in Halo 1. We would just kind of walk around. All of a sudden, it's kind of tucked behind a corner of this ledge to go up somewhere. You're like, oh, hey, here it is.
Would have seen it.
Right. And maybe we're being a little hard on the game. I'm not saying that we didn't like the game or that we,
I love the game.
I love the game. It's just some things that they improved on later that you can kind of see why they improved on. And you kind of like, well, if they truly remastered the game, maybe they could have fixed these kind of things.
Then that would be getting into a lot more technical stuff. That would have, they wouldn't have.
So if they would have cut out some of the platform areas that were going on, how would you have taken that?
Well, I mean, it wouldn't have been a true remaster. It would have been a complete remake. And that would have
just for shortening that.
Yeah, I think so. Because you'd probably have to rewrite a whole lot of stuff. Because again, there's still assets to be loaded. And that would have probably ticked off more people than it pleased.
Yeah, but
in fact, I guarantee you it would have made more people mad than it would have made happy. Clint would have been happy, but about 1 million Halo 2 fans would have been.
Well, I know they would have been like,
burned something down angry.
This isn't 100%, just a remaster.
And honestly, I would have been very displeased with it.
Really?
Even though, I don't like that, those parts necessarily. Don't take them out.
I'm not saying don't take them out. I'm just saying find a way to shorten them. Because if you're shortening them from a loading screen, well, you're loading way faster on these newer.
But it's not a loading screen. It's still something's happening. You're still seeing.
You're right.
Stuff.
It's not a loading screen. You're right. I don't know. I mean, I get trying to keep, keep going the way that it was always intended to be. But at the same time,
it's
there are things they could have improved on. And I'm not talking about changing the way anybody looked, changing the skins on anything. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. I'm just talking about, this part is just long and slow and tedious. Fix it.
It's still part of it.
I guess.
And
agree to disagree.
I mean, to cut that stuff out would have taken a lot. It's not a simple cut, copy, paste. That would have been probably rebuilding a lot of stuff.
No, I'm sure they probably could have put second gear on that stupid gondola and made it go a little bit faster. Possibly.
There's some games, I know Super Mario 3D World just came out. They did speed it up. But I would rather, if you're going to remaster a game, don't mess with too much. Give it a nicer coat of paint.
Yeah.
Maybe fix a few things here and there, but don't completely overhaul something, because you're asking for more problems than you want.
Probably. But if they could just simply cut some of that out and it made the game made it where you're not just sitting there sitting here with your gun looking up and looking at everything. But maybe that's why it's there too. Maybe it's so you can see all the stuff that we've put in the game. I don't know. Yeah. It just kind of ticked me off a little bit. It's like, all right, look, I'm ready to play again. I'm tired of riding this stupid thing. I want to get from point A to point B. I don't want to sit here and just go like at minimal speed going all these places. So,
well, at the same time, they're doing that to show the distance that you're covering. So that's where it could have been fixed to begin with, if they'd not made some of these levels so big, I think.
Well, you're probably right there, but they're still trying to show off the lore of Halo.
It's frustrating, but it's also letting you know the scale of these buildings you're in.
Right.
It's like, this is going to take a long time because you're going, 1,000 feet up there.
Right.
And so, if it's like, okay, we're going 1,000 feet and we're done, it would take away from some of the.
Well, I'm not saying take away, some of the battles that are happening while you're on these platforms or whatever. You can leave those in there.
Well, shoot, if you're playing on Legendary, you probably need the time to kill them.
You're probably right. That's something I hadn't thought of. So
Yeah, because normal, like I even said, it's like, wow, we're flying through it at normal till,
Right.
till we got to the end
right.
with the constant brutes. But
Um, speeding along. Tartarus finally officially betrays the Arbiter,
yeah,
knocks him off the platform. Gravemind gets him. Gravemind. Oh, go ahead.
well, I was gonna say, Tartarus is the opposite of Arbiter because Arbiter saw the truth, realized the truth, realized this thing I've been devoted to my whole life is a lie,
Right.
and Tartarus refuses to see that.
Yeah, he's completely blind. He's drank the Kool-Aid.
Exactly. And while Arbiter has been knocked down a peg to where he's at now, Tartarus has been raised. His whole species has been raised.
So he full on believes everything they say because, hey, we're reaping the benefits now.
Exactly.
But see,
maybe that's why, maybe that blind loyalty is why truth put the brutes above the elites.
So, and you can cut this out if you want, but yes, there's races in the Covenant, the different races. You know, you've got the grunts, you got the brutes, whatever. Would that make Tartarus a racist?
Well, I mean, not in the terms that you're thinking of.
Okay.
That because that's like species, like more of a
species
xenophobia thing. I don't know.
Okay.
But no, he's not. It's not that he just hates the elites because they're elites.
Well, he hates the elites because they've been the ones
they've
in
looked
power.
down on
right
the brutes.
They've always looked down on the brutes,
and
like,
so
we're
you
better
can kind of see
where
where Tartarus is coming from.
Yeah, I mean, if you're one of these people that can see both sides of the coin, absolutely,
because it's almost you see
you
the
almost
Arbiter,
sympathize with him.
The Arbiter, right to the very end, is trying to convince him because he's like, please see things my way.
Right.
He's more than willing to work with Tartarus, even though Tartarus has already tried to kill him.
Right.
He's trying to save his life, basically, right there at the end.
Well,
which goes to show the character of the Arbiter.
Right.
I mean, you know, you start off, you come into Halo 2, you think the elites are the bad guys. During the course of it, you meet the Arbiter, you learn who he is, and by the end of it, it's like, well, he's really heroic. He's a really great character.
Well, he's built himself up.
And he's also voiced by Keith David, who is a fantastic
voice actor
and
actor,
regular actor. Yeah.
So you see the Tartarus knock the Arbiter off. Gravemind ends up with the Arbiter. And another thing that I really like about this whole backstory is you see the brutes walking into High Charity, and you see all these elites that are standing there with all this armor and everything. These brutes just come up and just start snatching the armor off them, like, hey, I dare you to do so. They're putting it on. They're fighting each other for who's going to be what rank and everything. So it's almost like obviously you got the coup. I'm going to call it that, even though it's not really a coup anymore, but you've got the coup that's going on.
Yeah. Not a coup. It's just,
but you've got rankings, but it's like the brutes are like, I don't care about what your armor looks like that depicts your ranking. I want your armor.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of, what would you call it, disorganization with the, like you with the brutes. You have your chieftains, and you know they're the bad boys, and you've got your captains, but these guys are just taking, okay, you're a Xena whatever elite. What do they call them? The big bad elites.
Because the elite elites, the ultras.
Well, you got the ultras, but there was another one that they specifically called out in Reach.
Zealots, maybe?
Zealots. That's it.
Zealots.
So they're like going up to these zealots and just taking their armor. Like, I don't care that you're a zealot. I'm taking your armor, and now I'm a zealot, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. They were just kind of fighting over the armor no matter what the armor was.
Well, they were under orders.
Well, that's true, too. So, I mean, and then I guess the elites just sit there and just kind of said, well, they said it had to happen. We're going to let it happen, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not really a coup because the guy in charge is doing it. He's basically giving it's like, I'm giving your job to someone else.
Right. Because even the Arbiter, before he gets knocked down into the well of shame, he even said, you know, when the prophets learn of this, he's, you know, and Tartarus, like, when they learn of it, they told me to do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then it's at that point when the Arbiter is kind of like, oh, okay,
we're doing this now.
All right, then. So Gravemind gets Arbiter, Gravemind gets Chief, tells them, that they're really fighting the same fight for good, basically. And the Gravemind is the enemy of my enemy is my friend, so I'm gonna be buddy with you all the way up until Halo 3.
Well, he's playing them. Well, they figured it out. I mean, I think they kind of knew.
Oh yeah,
this is.
Yeah, once you get rid of one,
yeah,
I'm gonna come back and be against you again.
An alliance of convenience for the moment, but
right.
they knew that he would betray them. He did betray them. Before the end of 2.
So he teleports, which I thought was a really neat thing that the Gravemind can teleport people. He teleports Chief to High Charity, right?
Right.
So he goes from the Halo to High Charity.
Mm-hmm.
How the heck does that happen?
Well, High Charity's right there at Halo.
I know it's at it, but how does the Gravemind know how to teleport? Magic. Well, there you go. I was waiting for that actually.
And sends Arbiter on the way to get the index.
Right. So,
or rather, to keep Tartarus from getting the index.
Well, he runs into Johnson and Keyes, and that's right before. Yeah, that's right before the betrayal, is it not? When because Arbiter's there to get the index.
No, that's after the betrayal because Tartarus has Johnson and Keyes, because remember, Arbiter fought them, and then Tartarus came in, got them, betrayed Arbiter, and he knows he needs a what they call them, reclaimer to activate the Halo. So that's why he's got Keyes.
Okay, but I thought
and so Arbiter meets up with Johnson, and they're like, okay, and here's another. This is an alliance of convenience, which actually turns into an actual alliance,
right?
And they're going to try and stop the Halo from being fired because they know what's going to happen.
They are aware of what's going to happen,
right?
Because obviously Chief knows from 343. Arbiter now knows from whatever the other spark is,
and I can't remember exactly why Chief was sent to High Charity. Was it to stop the Forerunner ship that they had that was going to activate the Ark?
I think so. Yeah, stop the ship so they can't get to the Ark, kind of thing.
So, but Chief gets to High Charity, where we find out that the Prophet of Mercy got a flood, one of those little flood things on him. So I guess it's almost like it's turning him,
right?
And they just, in truth, stops the brutes from helping him,
right?
Because this is truth is basically saying, it's just me. No more triumvirate ruling everything. It's just me.
Well, and I thought too that the game was really well made in this part too, because you and I had made the comment of, gosh, I wish they just let us play all the Arbiter and then all the Chief, but where we had made the comment of, well, this is happening while this is happening. So that's why it's going back and forth at the same time.
And I think a lot of people, it was kind of a mixed reaction at first, but I think most people after playing through it like it.
See, and that's where I was going to go earlier with. I told you I didn't really like the whole Arbiter thing. I love the story, but I didn't really like playing as the Arbiter. Like if there was a way to put that part of the story in without me actually having to play the Arbiter missions, I probably would have really enjoyed that a little bit more. It's hit or miss, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of playing as the Arbiter though.
It's all right. I mean, it's as long as I can get human weapons.
Well, I mean, you got.
I hate that plasma rifle. Oh my goodness, I hate that.
We'll get into some of the weapon issues that we had early here in a little bit, but back and forth. Johnson and the Arbiter have formed an alliance. Johnson's in a scarab. They're going to blow down the door. You got to get him there. Then you got to jump in and. What do you got to do when you get in? You got to go
boss fight.
Go around. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, boss fight, which is you don't have many of those in Halo.
Yeah, and that was another complaint. That there's just in the whole series in general. Like, there's not a whole lot of boss fights in it. There's just not. I mean, there's a lot of brute chieftains in areas, but that's about as much of a boss fight.
So I guess he was the only real true chieftain because he has that hammer. He has an awesome hammer.
The anti-gravity hammer.
Yeah. So
we can just suck things up to the hammer like a magnet.
And the boss fight was okay. I mean, it was just don't get close to him. I ran up to him with a shotgun and instantly regretted it. But it
And there was
all right.
Clint waiting somewhere far away where Hammy could respawn and get
Yeah.
right back into it. Yeah. So there was the boss fight there. You're trying to turn him, he won't turn. All right, whatever.
I gotta kill you.
Yeah, I gotta kill you. Chief is running through High Charity. He
finds out that the flood have indeed betrayed him because they send a flood to High Charity.
right.
But he gets on the Forerunner ship.
And the flood, is it not mentioned here sometime too that the flood have gotten onto a Covenant ship and are headed to Earth?
No, they hijack High Charity. That's how they get to Earth is High Charity. Because you remember the
That is.
yeah.
Because
you see it pop out of
right.
slip space in Halo 3. But Chief gets on the Forerunner ship, and the Forerunner ship hits slip space to Earth.
Right.
That's when they get close, and they're like, "What is this ship?"
Right. It's not one of ours. To blow it up.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, can anybody read me? It's 343 or 117. Blah blah blah.
Finishing the fight. I wish I could do that voice.
That is kind of a cool, iconic voice.
Yeah. Sound like a hick when I do it though.
Finish the fight.
hey, y'all, finish that fight.
So great game. Kind of a letdown on the ending, but knowing that there's a Halo 3, I guess it kind of makes it better.
It was very abrupt, very cliffhanger-ish.
Well, like I said, that whole entire game was supposed to be one game, and they got into a crunch because the first Halo was such a great game that everybody was clamoring for a second one. And by the time they said, okay, we can get it done in this amount of time, no, we can't. Well, we're going to get as much as we can done. We'll release the third game. The developer from 1 went to 2, and then he quit like 6 months before it was supposed to leave, before it was supposed to head out. Yeah, listen to Finish the Fight's take on all that. There's a ton of turnover because the guy's like, dude, I haven't seen my family. I'm worn out. I've worked all this. They even talked about how many pizzas and how much Mountain Dew was consumed to Finish the Fight does. They went in those kind of stats.
Did they know how much was consumed and drank playing their multiplayer?
Oh gosh,
we were doing it for fun.
We were doing it for fun, exactly. But again, great game. Some little things here and there that I wish that they could have either fixed or kind of did away with. But for the most part, I mean, I don't think I'd change a whole lot about the game.
And we didn't touch the multiplayer on our playthrough.
No, we didn't.
But I have done a lot of the multiplayer.
I have not. I don't know the maps. I mean,
a lot of them are very similar.
A lot of them are big though, aren't they?
No, not really. There's several. Like Zanzibar would become Last Resort.
Yeah.
Halo 3, and Halo does that a lot. They'll bring you back a map but rename it.
And that's the thing that I loved about Halo 3. Obviously, was a lot of the multiplayer maps, and you would tell me, "Hey, this is in Halo 2." I'm like, "What? Are you serious?" Yeah. But I guess, even whenever I played through Anniversary, I just couldn't get into them because they're a little bit different.
There's
between
another
the two.
one. Oh, there was another one that would appear on Halo 3 as a DLC multiplayer map that I loved.
It was the oil rig level.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it.
Too bad we don't have like smartphones. We can find that.
Well, I'm not connected to your internet, so it's all you, Chief.
Anyway, well, you keep talking. I'll find it. Blackout.
But multiplayer Blackout, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it?
Well, it's Blackout in 3.
But yeah, the multiplayer is great in 2. Some people even say it's better than 3. It was a lot more skill based. There was a lot of the crouch jumping, a lot of stuff like that.
Well, and this was right?
Because Halo 1 was straight up. If you wanted to play multiplayer 16 people, you'd have to have a LAN party.
And what kind of LAN parties did people have? My goodness, I remember.
Oh gosh.
Oh goodness, they'd have 4 Xboxes hooked up together, and you'd have
different rooms.
Yeah, just so nobody could screen cheat.
Those were great.
I am trying to find a list of the multiplayer maps. Keep talking though.
Oh, what was it? Cold something in 2?
Cold Storage was a free download in 3.
Well, I'm not thinking Cold Storage. Anyway, but the
Colossus,
multiplayer
Lockout. Okay.
Yeah, it was Lockout. Is that not it?
I think that's it.
Lockout sounds familiar.
Lockout is like a cold level.
Yeah, it was a cold level. It was like an icy oil rig.
It doesn't look like an oil rig. Anyway. So finishing up here, you had mentioned about some of the guns that you really didn't like.
The blue plasma rifle. They can keep that.
See,
hated
I
it.
kind of felt the same way about the plasma pistol a little bit. If it wasn't for the overcharge, I don't think the plasma pistol
Well, a lot of those
in
guns,
any of those.
a lot of those guns too. If it wasn't for dual wielding, they'd be useless.
Yes.
The SMG was weak, but if you had two of them, it was great.
Right. Same thing with the Needler.
Yeah,
Wasn't real good with one. Was really good with two.
and it's hard for me to dual wield because I love having my grenade. Because I use
That's-
grenades a lot more.
That's
than
one
you.
thing that I kept referring to. It's like, I've not thrown but like 4 grenades this whole entire match.
And they are so plentiful in Halo 2.
And I'm the one that likes to stick folks.
Yeah, dude, I was chunking them every time I get them.
Well, we ran into a little bit of an issue with how tough the brutes were later in the game when they would go to their berserk mode. And gosh, how many times, even on normal, how many times did we die in that last level?
Well, that one part where you're right before the boss fight, because they come out, there's like maybe a dozen of them.
Yeah.
And we'd go under the floor and that little crawl
That's
space.
right.
They kept lagging so bad.
Well, they would lag there, and then they got to the point where they found a way into the underfloor. That's the first time I've ever had that happen. I would get under the floor and be like, okay, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to recharge. I'm going to sit here and just kind of pop them off.
Nope, we're coming for you.
Nope, coming out. And I mentioned to you too how much I didn't realize that I really missed the assassinations. You know, assassinations were kind of a big thing in 3, but they're a really big thing in Reach.
They were never in 3.
No, you got the medal for it for when you hit somebody from behind.
Oh, I was thinking that just meant
Like
the animation.
No, not the animation, but like where you would come up. If you hit somebody from the back in 3, they died.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, no, the animations were.
The animations were in Reach.
Okay.
So just little things like, and again, this is one of those things where they got better as the series went. So,
and those first 3 are just incredible. And in Reach, I
first,
love
first
Reach.
3 to throw Reach and ODST in there too.
Yes, all the Bungie Halo games were fantastic, and they should have. Well, I don't say should have stopped there. They should have gotten
Bungie
a competent company.
Else. Bungie wanted to do something else.
Well, they should have gotten a competent company to make the
Microsoft's
rest.
a competent company.
Yeah.
Using quotes there. So anything else you want to add? Anything we might have missed? Because we do this a lot. We miss things that I wish we would have talked about here and there.
Now that I think of, like I said, I really enjoy Halo 2 is great. It's the first Halo I played. It still holds up. The anniversary looks amazing.
Yeah.
There are some gripes with some of the pacing in the game.
Yeah.
Admittedly. But I mean, overall, I would say I would put it in my top 3 favorite Halo games.
Okay.
Probably at 3rd.
Behind
3 in Reach.
Reach, then three being 1.
Yeah, 3's number 1.
And a close second is Reach.
Well, not as close as you would think.
Okay.
3 is way up there for me.
Yeah. Well,
Reach and 2 would be very close, and I would have to really think about it more before I decided if they were their order.
The longer we have this podcast, and the more I think about it as a standalone game, I don't think Halo 3 is that good of a game.
Get out.
It's a great gameplay game, but if you don't know the story beforehand,
this is now the Ham Retro Review. I apologize for what my co-host just said.
No, I'm just saying it's not a great standalone game in the standpoint that you don't know the story coming into it. You're falling through space. You don't know why. You know, you're fighting these people. You don't know why.
Well, yeah. I mean, you said it wasn't meant to be.
No. You're right. It's not meant to be, but I'm just saying as a standalone game, it's a good game. I don't know if it's a great game though. And I love it. I love it.
Sonic the Hedgehog sucks.
It does.
What? Sonic 2 sucks.
Sonic 2 is
Sonic 3, Sonic Knuckles sucks. I'm gonna get a rise out of you.
Okay.
I'm gonna make you feel what I feel right now. No, I'm kidding.
I'm just saying. I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, and everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Oh yeah. I mean, I get you.
I'm just saying as a standalone game because you don't know any of the backstory. The backstory is what makes Halo 3, I think. Now the gameplay and everything is great that goes with it too, but I'm saying the story is really what makes it.
Yeah, no.
Because you're going to find this AI why is it there? You know, you have no idea why it's not.
She stayed behind on High Charity,
but you don't know that.
Yeah,
there's only.
I get what you're saying. You had to
3.
play through 1 and 2 to understand it.
And after I played 3, I remember talking to a guy at work, like, dude, I love it, but I don't know anything about it.
I didn't. So that's the good thing about the Zelda games is you don't have to play any of the other ones
Because it's
to
the
know.
same story every time.
I mean, it basically is.
Well, just like Mario. So I'm going to get through Twilight Princess. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm literally crossing my fingers. That will be the next game we review.
He's not crossing his fingers. He's holding a barbecue sandwich in both hands.
I am. So, anything else? Finish up Halo 2 because we've been going for a while now.
You know, I mean, if you really want a very thorough breakdown of it, finish the fight.
Oh, dude, Finish the Fight's got it down. If you want all the stats and all the backstory stuff and why things are the certain way, and
I'm almost nervous if they listen to this.
If they listen to this, they're gonna be like, "Yeah, ours is way better."
Well, I'm just wondering how many times they're writing down. He got it wrong. He got it wrong. He got it wrong.
Well, they're probably the ones that are yelling at their radio. If they even listen to our podcast, I would venture to say they probably don't. But even if they're listening to this podcast and we're sitting there saying, "What is the name of that level?" They're sitting there screaming at the top of their lungs, "You stupid idiots!"
But no, no, they do a great job. But yeah, I Halo 2, like I said, first one that I played, it hooked me. I was a huge Halo fan, massive Halo fan.
I remember playing the first one in multiplayer and getting my butt handed to me because I wasn't very good at it. And I think that kind of turned me off from Halo for a while.
Oh, one thing I will add. When we first started playing this game, I was going to play through it with my Duke.
That's right.
My Duke controller.
Your Duke wireless controller.
No, it's not wireless.
I know.
I found that out whilst I was playing because I was like, why is it not turning the Xbox on? So it's by Hyperkin. It's for Xbox One. Very awesome looking. The whole, the big X is animated like it does the whole original Xbox startup. Overpriced for what it is. God, it's overpriced, but
I got it. So
I couldn't get through Cairo Station.
No, you couldn't. You had to break out.
That's how I beat the first two Halos was with a Duke controller. But since then, and I didn't realize this, but the 4 color buttons, the 4 letter buttons, are like at an angle. So when I would go to hit Y, I was hitting B. It's almost at that hard an angle.
Oh, wow.
And I just, it wasn't long as I got to get a normal controller.
Well, that's probably why Microsoft said, we're going to redo this controller because we've got a lot of complaints.
Well, I think the original Xbox controller had like 3 different iterations.
Well, I think it had the Duke, then it had a more classical one where it kind of shrank the Duke, and then he ended up with what you end up basically having.
Yeah,
now.
it's very Xbox 360 looking.
Right. One thing I did say while we were playing this was how even though like I had to literally make time to do it, that I had a lot of fun playing online again with you. At least through this, I care less about the multiplayer anymore because I'm terrible at it. I'm to the point.
It'd be fun to do custom games.
Yeah. Well, I'm just so out of the loop with any kind of multiplayer stuff. I would struggle so much I wouldn't have fun. But this was a lot of fun, and I've got to start making more time to be able to get together and do that. I think we have better reviews when we actually are able to play the game together.
Yeah.
Or, Twilight Princess, for instance, you're not going to play through it before we do the review.
If I get my Wii U back.
Whenever I finish it, we're doing the episode, damn it. So,
well, I've beaten that game probably.
That's what I'm going to say. You've beaten this. That's one of the games that you've beaten a ton of times. Yeah. You can recall all of your memories. I'm going through it the first time. That stupid hand with that stupid soul, the sun ball thing that you got to carry around. I'm walking through there with the soul thing, and I'm trying to figure out where I'm supposed to put this thing. And then I finally find it on the ground. You got to sit on the ground to make these magic stairs come up. And I go up the stairs. By the time I get around to try to hook shot into the orb, stupid hand comes back and gets it and takes off with it. So I'm like running, trying to shoot it. You got his
Twilight Dungeon?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't ever have any problems with it.
Yeah, well, you've played a lot of Zelda, and I've not.
All right.
But yeah, well, I'm close. I'm very close.
All right.
So, well, that's it. I don't have anything else. I guess join us next time when you might hear Hammy say,
I swear those donuts were gone when I got here.
not so fast. And at that point,